Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be doing a video about Luckin Coffee. Before I start the video, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video below. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Join the family, guys. Let's go on our investing journey together. So today we're going to be talking about Luckin Coffee, and Luckin Coffee today, guys, up 73%. Probably the biggest rally we've actually seen in a while from the stock itself. If you guys don't know what Luckin Coffee is a coffee chain that's based out of China. If you guys don't really know the story of Luckin Coffee, right? It was a big coffee chain, like I said, in China, set to rival Starbucks. Luckin Coffee honestly came out swinging. It was growing like crazy. Like, people were kind of really astounded by the growth of Luckin Coffee in itself. And it was a big growth story. A lot of big time investors behind its name. Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and all these big time investors supported Luckin Coffee. And honestly, like I said, it came out swinging, and it was honestly the Starbucks of China, guys. Like, Luckin Coffee's growth was just absolutely huge. No one could really determine how Luckin Coffee was actually growing so fast. Basically, if you guys take a look at the 1-year chart here, right, this thing was a $50 stock at one point. As you guys see, that big downturn. If you guys don't really know the story of Luckin Coffee and what happened to the stock itself, so Muddy Waters, they're a short seller, basically did a short report, or a report in itself, about Luckin Coffee, basically stating that Luckin Coffee was fabricating a lot of their sales, up to 210 million US dollars, or 2.2 billion yuan, which is the Chinese dollar. And later turns out, yes, Luckin Coffee was indeed fabricating their sales. That's what led to that huge drop right there. Basically, the stock went from $50 all the way down to like $3. And people were really shocked that Luckin Coffee would do this. Like I said, Luckin Coffee came out. They admitted that, yes, they were fabricating their sales. No one really knows, though, how much of the sales were actually fabricated. That information actually has not been released yet. We're still kind of waiting on that, and we're still waiting on updated financials. We actually don't know how the company is currently performing. But in good news, guys, you have to understand, the stores were real, right? So Luckin Coffee, 6,000 plus stores in China. The stores are confirmed that they're actually real stores, that they do have 6,000 plus stores in themselves, right? They swept all the management, which is great. After fraud, you want to sweep all the management. It looks good. It looks good for the brand itself. You want to get rid of the people who were causing the fraud in the first place. And I want to make this clear, guys. Companies can recover from fraud, right? I'm not really too worried about the fraud in itself. I mean, yes, fraud is never good. I'm not advocating that. But guys, companies can recover from fraud. Take a look at Wells Fargo, one of the biggest banks in the world. We're basically fabricating fake accounts. They were making fake accounts for people. And General Electric and Waste Management, all these big time companies, guys, got busted for fraud. I know they're still currently going under lawsuits, but what is the future of Luckin Coffee? Is Luckin Coffee still worth the investment after the fraud? Should you buy Luckin Coffee at $7.35? For me, if you guys know, I've made plenty of videos about Luckin Coffee and my position on Luckin Coffee. I own a small position of Luckin Coffee. I own 1,000 shares. I bought around $2. Why? Because there's a lot more upside than downside, guys. Like I said, this is still a huge coffee chain that's based out of China, right? They're still set to rival Starbucks, and basically that name never went away, guys. Luckin Coffee was their main intent, right? They wanted to be a big company. They wanted to be the biggest coffee chain in China, and there's still that potential, right? But right now, what Luckin Coffee truly needs to focus on, guys, is building their name back, making sure they clean their name overall, and making sure, that their brand is clean again, right? A lot of people lost a lot of money on the fraud. They lost the trust of big-time investors, right? If you guys don't really know the process, Luckin Coffee was halted for a very long time, right? So that way it was still on the NASDAQ, but it wasn't trading, right? It was halted, so people could not get their money out. Basically, they were set to have a hearing with NASDAQ to basically stay listed on the New York Stock Exchange. As the time kind of rolled around, they never had the meeting, and Luckin Coffee stock got delisted. And if you guys don't know what that means, Luckin Coffee currently trades on over-the-counter. Now, I want to trade out this misconception. Just because the stock trades over-the-counter does not mean that there's no value to it, and it does not mean that the stock cannot do very, very well. There's just generally less volume, and the reason Luckin Coffee got there is the reason why it's not so good, right? Getting delisted from NASDAQ for fabricating sales is not a good image, guys. But the future of Luckin Coffee, in my personal opinion, is still a bright one. I still think Luckin Coffee does have potential to turn itself around. Do I think any shortcomings of it? Do I think Luckin Coffee is going to be a $50 stock again in the next year? No, I actually don't. But For me, I do see a long-term recovery from Luckin Coffee. No one can really say when Luckin Coffee stock is actually going to recover. No one can really say when Luckin Coffee stock is actually going to clear its name out. But as you guys can see, within recent news, and it's the first news we've gotten in a really long time, that they paid out $180 million to the SEC, basically for fabricating their accounting. And this is the biggest thing, guys. You know, Luckin Coffee has to pay its dues, but they're headed on the right direction. They swept the management, right? They have updated financials they have not released to the public yet. I am still waiting on those financials because I'm very curious to see how the company was actually performing before the fraud. Because if the company was profitable even before the fraud, you know, it goes to show that, you know, the company didn't need to fabricate sales to actually show itself that it was doing very, very good. And a lot of people, you know, they state that like they had to be fabricating sales because they weren't making money, but that's not necessarily true, guys. The company could still have been making money, but I think they wanted to project that they were growing faster than they actually were. If you guys know, Luckin Coffee was opening up, I think like a store a day or something like that, you know, like crazy, just crazy growth. But I still do think Luckin Coffee is worth the investment. Now, everything I say in my videos, guys, is not financial advice. It's just my opinion. But guys, it's still a huge coffee chain. They're still open. They're still selling coffee. They're still in business. They have not filed bankruptcy. And their current market cap currently sits at $2 billion, which is not too shabby, right? The company still does have a future. Like I said, other companies have recovered from fraud before. It does not make Luckin Coffee any different, guys. Luckin Coffee still can turn itself around. Like I said, the biggest thing it needs to work on is being transparent, cleaning out its brand name. And I know they already hired new management and they need to release updated financials to the public so people can actually see how the company is actually doing. For me, I do believe in the long-term kind of vision of Luckin Coffee. Like I said, it's still a big coffee chain. It's still doing very, very well. It's still up. It's still running. Like I said, they haven't filed for bankruptcy yet. So as long as they haven't filed for bankruptcy, I'm always still going to be bullish on the stock, and I'm still bullish on Luckin Coffee in the long term. As you guys see, we had a 96% return today, which is just absolutely amazing. You know, a lot of people are still bullish on Luckin Coffee. I still read articles about Luckin Coffee all the time, and I still check up on it time to time. Obviously, ever since the fraud broke out, I don't check on it too much because I know that after fraud, it does take some time for the stock to actually recover, for them to actually get going again, and for people to actually build the trust back. There's a lot of people that were burned by the stock, so they're not just going to willingly throw money back into it. But for me, like I said, guys, there's so much more upside here than there is downside. You know, for me, like I said, I invested $2,000, 1,000 shares at around $2. Like, yeah, I could lose $2,000, but I've definitely made a lot more money than I've actually lost on this stock itself. And that's not even a bragging sense. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is the worst I can lose is $2,000. That's my personal investment. I was willing to take the risk because, like I said, you know, a lot of people were invested in General Electric. A lot of people are invested in Wells Fargo, and those companies also committed fraud. So like I said, it's no different for this stock. For this specific stock, guys. You know, this company still has the potential to do very, very well. Like I said, do I think that this company will eventually one day hit $50 again? Who knows? I can't read the future, but I know that Luckin Coffee stock is not done, and I know that the company is still up and running, and I know that they're going to do great things. With that being said, guys, that's all I really have to say about the video. Let me know down in the comment section below, guys, what you think of Luckin Coffee. Do you think Luckin Coffee stock is worth the investment right now at $7.35? Is now a good time to buy in Luckin Coffee? I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you guys are invested in Luckin Coffee, how many shares do you guys own and what's your average? I'm always curious to know. With that being said, guys, thank you. Have a great day.